You're watching CTV News Channel. I'm Todd Vanderheiden. Tech with Todd on this Tuesday. Some of the top headlines in the world of technology. It might be the biggest tech company that you have never heard of, ZTE. It is a Chinese smartphone manufacturer, one of the biggest in the world. And the company has been targeted by U.S. President Donald Trump and his administration. Now it's on the verge of collapse. A little bit about this company here. ZTE has 75,000 employees, does business in 160 countries. But some of those countries include places like North Korea and Iran. And because it sold products to those countries, as well as Cuba, Syria, and Sudan, that actually broke American economic sanctions. So Washington ordering a 7-year freeze. No more American technology can be used by ZTE. ZTE, by the way, uses American microchips, software, modems, other technology in its operations. So this is a huge blow. And now the company is at death's door. It's suspending its operations. Although, as is often the case with President Donald Trump, we're seeing a last 11th hour change of tone. Trump is indicating a deal is possible if the Chinese government is willing to play ball. Story, just a tiny example of a tech Cold War that's going on nowadays between the U.S. and China, as the American government is accusing China of stealing technology, secrets, and being a threat to American national security. Very fascinating. Let's bring in our tech panel here. We've got Daniel Bader joining us from Toronto, and in London, Ontario, we've got Carmi, Levy as well. Daniel, what do you make of this story here? ZTE now wondering if they even have a future.
What a whirlwind, Todd. This is a very interesting story. If for no other reason than President Trump himself is getting involved in it. ZTE, as you explained, was hit with a $900 million fine in March of 2017 for violating sanctions against North Korea and Iran. But in April of this year, the company was banned from doing business with U.S. companies for 7 years because the Commerce Department didn't believe that they went far enough in punishing the employees responsible for violating those sanctions. This is a huge step because ZTE relies on two major U.S. companies for its business: Google, which makes the Android operating system, as well as Qualcomm, which provides the chips in the majority of ZTE's business and smartphones. So the fact that this company has to shut down for the time being is a remarkable step, given that this only happened a few days ago.
It's a great example as well, Carmi, of how for Donald Trump, basically everything is on the table. So, this has to do with steel as well, Chinese trade and other products, the trade imbalance with the states. And even North Korea is involved in all of this because Donald Trump wants to keep the Chinese on side. So there are a lot of balls in the air, and ZTE is just one of them. And the Chinese government, of course, wants to help that company with 75,000 employees. Even Donald Trump said, if the company goes under, there's too many jobs lost in China, which was kind of an interesting tweet from the president on a Chinese company. We don't often hear him saying that he needs to help Chinese companies.
Yeah, it kind of makes you wonder what country he's actually leading and where his allegiances lie. And, it shows that here's the guy, he is the author of The Art of the Deal. It's all about deal making. And really what he's doing is he's using big tech, in this case, a big Chinese tech company, as leverage for a trade deal. And everything is interconnected. And I certainly don't put it past him to, engage in this kind of political and economic brinkmanship. But there are very significant consequences to playing this particular game with this particular company. Let's remember that this is a company that has been caught before buying products from companies that were embedding their firmware, embedding their products with malware, which was then sending data, and there's report after report of this, back to the Chinese government. You have the heads of 6 American intelligence agencies, including the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, who have spoken on Capitol Hill, basically saying this is a company whose products should not be used by American citizens, should not be imported, should not be allowed for sale in the U.S. because they are used in the pursuit of spycraft. So, I appreciate that Donald Trump wants to save 75,000 jobs. This is in China, but this is a company that has not played by the rules, has played hard and fast with the rules, and as a result, you can't really trust them. It's one of the reasons why you don't see ZTE phones in stores in the U.S. Or in Canada. Nobody wants to buy them. Is this the kind of company that we want to be helping? It's a reasonable question to ask, Mr. Trump.
All right, let's move on, if we can, from the latest between the USA and ZTE into a story involving Google and a dozen employees there who have quit the company because of the involvement of Google with an artificial intelligence drone program tied to the American military. And these employees feel that the project called Project Maven, which is helping to analyze drone footage and use AI machine learning to help the military, they say this is unethical and Google should not be involved in this sort of thing. Daniel, what do you make of it?
Yeah, this is, it seems like a bigger deal than it is. A dozen employees leaving the company, leaving any company is not a great publicity announcement, but at the same time, Google has 85,000 employees. This is a drop in the bucket. Many of them hard-leaning left-wing employees. They're making their feelings known about the Trump administration and about Google, which pledged back in 1998 to do no evil, is ostensibly getting in bed with the military. Now, Google, in its defense, says that these machine learning projects are open source and that the military could use them without Google's assistance if they wanted to. Google is only showing them how to use it and better take advantage of these tools. So that's kind of both sides of the story. But at the same time, this is bad press for Google at a time when it needs to be seen as a company doing good for the world.
Yeah, it's a great point. We're going to show the open letter if we can as well, because some of these employees have used the term weaponizing technology, and people should not be doing that. Google should not be doing that. They've also taken to Twitter as well. They want people to sign the petition to get on board with this, and we'll see sort of what the cascade effect is or if it stops right here. Carmi, what's your read on the story?
Well, I think it's a much bigger problem for Google than the company might think it is. 12 employees, high-level engineers so far have quit, but over 4,000 have signed that change.org petition, which is just over 5%, 1 in 20 of the entire company's roles. And those numbers are growing fairly rapidly. Basically, there's an open revolt going on within Google among their employees, of employees saying the company is not being transparent enough. The company is engaging in the kind of activities with Department of Defense, the Pentagon, that completely violate its core ethos, its core values. And that's not a company that they want to be associated with. And they fear what that means for the future of military operations. They say that it won't be used for combat operations. But this is artificial intelligence that's being used to scan imagery that's collected from drones to determine who should be targeted and who should not be. We really are entering the point where humans are no longer going to be part of the kill chain. It opens the door. And the employees are asking, should Google be the company that does that, or should they be putting greater restraint on how that technology is used? This is one of those existential questions that Silicon Valley, not just Google, needs to ask as weaponry becomes more and more tech-driven. They're going to be asked to create more of these capabilities and build them into weapons. They're going to be going places they've never gone before, and they have to ask themselves, do they want to be part of it or not?
Gentlemen, great to have the two of you with us today. Thanks for taking the time.
Thanks,
Great
Todd.
to be here. Thank you.